Hello, I'm Dr. Angie McCartney.
And I'm Ruth McCartney.
Welcome to TeaFlix,
where each episode's intimate conversation features a fascinating guest across the spectrum of Beatles world, pop culture, Grammy winners, the music industry, chefs, producers, music stars, actors, and more. So bottoms up and join us as they spill the tea on TeaFlix. And it says we are live once again.
Jolly good.
Splendid.
This is an adventure.
Yeah, you'll have to sit up a bit for people to be able to see your Geist t-shirt,
Oh.
or I'll have to do that a bit. Whatever. Good morning, kids,
Good morning.
from a slightly cloudy Playa del Rey this morning.
Mm.
We, it's like the plumber who's has a tap that drips. We never pay enough attention to the genius we live with,
No,
right?
that's true.
And so today I am absolutely thrilled to be able to welcome my own husband, him, and I still call him my boyfriend, today to the show. So let me introduce, for those of you who don't know, Martin Nethercutt. He is a German-American entrepreneur, musician, and multimedia producer known for his diverse contributions to music, digital media, and creative branding. He was born in 1961 in Kassel, Germany. He grew up in a bilingual household with an American Army father and a German mother. Karotti, hello if you're watching.
Yeah.
He graduated from the Albert Schweitzer Schule in 1981, majoring in English and political science. And he corrects our English sometimes too. And later completed studies in business English and social economics in 1983. Bit of a smart sod, isn't
not
it?
all. Yeah.
After completing his mandatory military service in 1986, he worked as a forwarding agent and customs broker in Munich, Germany. As far as his music career, Martin's passion for music led him to become a sought-after commercial singer and composer in the European music industry. He lent his voice to blockbuster films such as Fletch, Top Gun, and Beverly Hills Cop, working with renowned producer and his good friend Harold Faltermeyer. His distinctive voice became recognizable in ads for brands like Burger King, Lufthansa, and Rothmans cigarettes. Remember Rothmans?
Oh, yeah. It's going back a bit.
Isn't it?
Ooh.
In the late 1980s, Martin collaborated with composer Michael Hoffmann de Boer on a song called Into Paradise. It gained attention after being featured in a 1991 German film and then subsequently a 1996 BMW commercial. The song remained unidentified for years on the internet until it was rediscovered and confirmed by a whole fan Reddit group in 2024.
Yeah.
In 1997, Martin co-founded McCartney Multimedia with us. Our company specializes in digital branding, web development, and multimedia production, serving clients ranging from chefs and musicians to small businesses and Fortune 500 companies. Martin also established McCartneyStudios.com in 2005, and he is the editor-in-chief of the McCartney Times daily Beatle blog and newspaper at McCartney.com. In 2015, he continues to lead creative strategies and technological expansions for our brand and its clients. Over the last 2 decades, Martin's been working on these musical concept albums under the Geist banner, this being the first, Book of Mirrors, and this being the second, Book of Shadows, and we'll talk all about the new one coming. He's got a spiritual rock and roll journey inside him, and all he had to do was capture it and turn it around for the fans. After combining over 19,000 music files for the first album, Book of Mirrors, with Nico Bolas at Capitol Records and mastered in Nashville by Richard Dodd. During the pandemic, Martin wrote and produced the Book of Shadows, the second one, and Geist music songs from Book of Mirrors, Book of Shadows, and the current album, which came out last week, Between Shadow and Light, the cast album, are currently available on iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, and all the rest of it. And Book of Light is coming in 2027. Additionally, for many years, he's worked as a voiceover artist for countless brands. As a native German speaker, I'm sure you've heard some of his work. And without further ado, welcome, Mart.
Good morning, ladies. How are we today?
Well, we're fine. Can we afford you?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. First of all, I have to say something. You two, every week, produce one of the most interesting shows on the internet. And I want to thank the fans. Honestly, I'm always watching from upstairs. I'm always behind the camera producing all this stuff. And you give people so much joy and so much inspiration. And you're just lovable. I mean, I have our friend Paul Moody always says to me, TeaFlix on Tuesday, that's it. I don't care if anything happens in the world. I need my fix.
That's nice.
That's very,
yeah.
very
Well,
sweet.
you know, Martin,
So
you
thank
won't have to sleep in the garage tonight.
So
We'll let
thank you
come
very
indoors.
much.
You're a big part of it, so thank
Yeah,
you
I
very
know,
much.
yeah.
So
Well,
let's start at the very beginning.
Yeah, that's a
Yes.
very good place to start.
Indeed.
Promise not to sing. Now, you in Germany as a youngster, you grew up with an American father and a German mother.
Mhm.
How did growing up in a bilingual household shape who you are today?
Well, when you develop your speech and language recognition as a child, it was always that I could speak both languages. So I would speak to my mother in German and to my dad in English. So when those patterns, and I'll go into it when we talk about AI later, when those patterns develop, you just, you just learn it subconsciously and it's there. The one story when we moved to the US, when I was about, oh my God, 8 or 9 years old, we moved to Florida because my father was in the Army and he got stationed at Homestead in Florida. And when I came back after like 2 years, I had to redo my German classes because I came off the plane and my German grandmother said, "Hallo Martin, wie geht's?" in German. And I say, "Hey, Grandma, how's it going?" And she looked at my grandfather and said, "Oh my God, the boy doesn't speak German anymore." And that's true because when you're in an environment as a kid, you adapt to, the language that is spoken.
Yeah.
Well, and I think also with you, people are always astonished that you don't have the German accent, because I think when people learn the English language, they listen to the accent of the teacher. But since you were taught in Homestead, Florida, that's why you sound like an American.
Right. I always get it like, you sound Midwestern, are you from Ohio or someplace? I'm like, no, not really.
It could be worse. It could sound Scouse living with us too.
He does a pretty good Scouse, though.
Oh, I know.
You are.
It's all fine. It's all fine until you marry English,
Exactly.
Yeah.
What first sparked your interest in music? What was the first instrument you ever picked up?
When I was about 10 years old, my grandfather gave me the worst piece of guitar ever. It was a Hofner. I remember that. And it was like $80. And the fret and the strings were this far apart. So you had to press down. And it always reminds me of Jimi Hendrix saying, well, if you want to be a guitar player, you're not a guitar player until your fingers bleed.
Yep.
And it hurt so much. And then I grew up with Johnny Cash, Folsom Prison Blues. I listened to that all day. I loved it. It was my first album. And of course, the German pop Schlager stuff that was on the radio.
Right.
And I started strumming along, just like that. I never had a teacher or anything. I just, figured out some chords and, and just pressed down the fingers until they really hurt.
Yeah. But I mean, before
you became a professional musician, you completed your military service, didn't you, in Germany? And you also worked in an international company with shipping and documentation. How did you make the leap from there into music?
Well, I was always around music, and I remember recording our first album in it was called Welcome to the 80s. It was late summer of 1979, and we went into a studio in Heidelberg. I'll never forget it, and it was my first, like, wow, now I'm in front of a microphone with an engineer and all that. So it was very exciting and challenging at the same time, because the band and we were just playing live all the time. So the switch to a studio is a major step. But it fascinated me, all the buttons on the mixing board and all that. And so part of me is like a live musician. Part of me later in life became a studio musician simply because I know now what they can do with your voice and all that stuff. So when you say we'll fix it in post, that's what that means. You have a performance, that's great. But then in the edit, you can, manipulate it.
Well, do you remember when our dear friend Barry Coffin he had a machine, like a plug-in thing in the studio. And I said, oh, that's a weird name. It's called a Russian dragon. Why? I didn't know they had dragons in Russia. He said, no. It's for people whose timing is off, and you can fix it if they're rushing or dragging. They called it a Russian dragon. Go Barry.
I remember that. That's the same today. I remember when the drum machines came out. Remember the Linn drum?
Yeah.
And then all the drummers thought, "Oh, we're out of business." You know, everybody's using that sound, and that was when Beverly Hills Cop came out, and I sang the original demo for Top Gun.
Right. Well, that's how did you meet Harold Faltermeyer?
Okay, so I moved to Munich, I believe, in '86. I was just done with the Army, and I needed to find a job. And so I applied as an internship with a forwarding company because banks and insurance don't work with this hair.
Right.
So since I spoke English, they're like, okay, we're going to stick you in export so you can talk to the forwarders in San Francisco and Dubai and Israel and all that. So during my work at the old airport in Munich, I learned that Michael Hoffman, who produced some of my first demos and commercials, had a connection to Harold Faltermeyer. And the studio of Harold Faltermeyer was about 5 miles from the old airport.
Right.
So one day I get a call. I'll never forget that. I was at the fax machine sending some faxes to San Francisco. And I get a call. He said, it's some producer for you. And I'm in the office, mind you. I'm doing my internship. And it was Harold Faltermeyer. He said, you know what, after work, why don't you come over and I have a demo for you to sing, and it's 500 Deutschmarks, okay? Sure, I would have done it for no money just to have that connection. Right. And I drive out there, and it's a big estate, and you got to, there's a entrance, there's a gate. You have to hit the button and say who you are. And so I come in, I go downstairs to the studio, and there is Donna Summer. I'm like, holy crap. Wow. Yeah, she's just finishing up a vocal. We'll get to you next. I'm like, great. So I'm sitting there, I'm, sweating bullets. I'm like, can I do this, Wow. And it was Highway to the Danger Zone, the Kenny Loggins song that I sang the demo for.
Wow. So
Harold said, get in there, boy. And give me your best rock and roll. So I did a couple of takes, and he goes like, oh, this is great. Do it again. You can do that better. So I learned by repetition of what he needed instinctively from a voice point of view. He just wanted to get the best performance out of me, right? Yeah. And when I was warmed up, I got those high notes, and that demo went on a cassette and went to Beverly Hills. Kenny loved it, and he came out and sang it.
That's wild.
And I got $500.
And back in, when would that have been? The late 80s, early 90s?
Late 80s, yeah.
Late 80s.
89, 88.
500 Deutschmarks would be like $1,500, $2,000 today.
Wow.
Probably, yeah.
Comparably.
It was a half. So 500 Deutschmarks, like $250.
Did you wind up in the Faltermeyer's private beer hoodie?
Oh my God! Yes,
that was an adventure, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So I did some more commercials with him, and I remember he had the Pet Shop Boys downstairs, and he said, "Well, after the Pet Shop Boys are done, we're going to go to the Hütte," and the Hütte was a little on the property, a little elm hut, and he had the best beer that you could get. It was
Schweiger, wasn't it?
It wasn't artificially kept cold. It was in ice blocks, and that went down like nectar.
Was that Schweiger boy, or was that
Augustine? No, that was his own brewery.
Wow.
Yeah,
Harold is quite. We've got to try and get him on the show. He's
I know.
Because he makes. I mean, not only is he having a big resurgence with Top Gun and all that stuff, but he makes some of the best sausage ever. He brews beer, he makes sausage. He's quite an interesting character.
Was it
his story is fascinating too.
Yeah,
you were in
his story is fascinating too because he learned under Giorgio Moroder.
That's right.
So I said, how did you get this Beverly Hills Cup deal? And he said, well, I was sweeping out the studio at Giorgio's place, and he was somewhere in Tenerife or somewhere. I forget where he was. He was out of town, and Beverly Hills called. Giorgio Moroder, please. He said, well, it's Harold Faltermeyer. And they go like, great, we need that soundtrack in 2 weeks. Oh, Giorgio won't be back. And they said, well, you do it then. That's how it started. He was interning with Giorgio.
What you want to talk about right place, right time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's unbelievable. Diana's asking, growing up, were any of your family musically inclined?
My grandfather played the violin after the war. He played it for a forester. Is it a forester? The guy that mends the forest? I think that's
like an arboretum sort of a person.
Yeah. And the guy had a lot of money, and my grandfather painted the entire living room with
like decoupage, wasn't it?
Yeah. And he used to play the violin when he had parties and stuff. So he was very musical. And when I grew up, because my mom worked and I was about 4 or 5 years old, he would always play Beethoven, Bach, Wagner, all those composers, and sit back, have a cigar and a schnapps and said, just listen to this, know. So probably that at an early age influenced.
Well, and then he bought you a guitar, so he obviously wanted, and it generally skips a generation, doesn't it, in families' influences?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, and so he was also a brilliant artist. Remember that card he designed and drew for us when we got married? Oh my goodness,
beautiful!
We still have that.
Yeah.
So you did, apart from doing a lot of stuff with Harold.
Yeah, you also did campaigns for major brands, didn't you? Like Burger King and Lufthansa. What did those experiences teach you about the business side of entertainment?
And especially singing in a group, like with Who Did That Music and Dane's whole crowd.
Yeah.
How do you go from being a solo singer to being able to fit into a choral group?
Yeah, this is a great question. So when I did Burger King in Hamburg with Jan Krüger at Otto's studio, Otto Walkes, the only German comedian I know, in Hamburg, that was the day the Challenger blew up.
Oh, wow.
So we're in the studio. I'm singing Burger King, Have It Your Way, and it's all fun and games. And then we just look at the screen and it just boom,
Wow. Yeah.
So, and they would always tease me because, in Germany, when you're from Bavaria, they think you're a cowherd, You're somebody that is coming straight down from the mountain, and this is Hamburg. Sophisticated. Yeah, exactly.
Did you bring your alcohol?
So my voice got out there, commercial singer, and I got more gigs, and I did, oh my God, Rothmans, you're right, Langnese, Ice Cream Company, Burger King, BMW, I mean, countless stuff. Did it pay a lot? Not really. They all, you pay the guy $500 or whatever. And then one job came along and then they said, well, we got 5,000 for this. I'm like, oh, great. So I made a little money, but Germany is a limited market because at the time it was all disco and it was all like horrible music. And here I was singing Eagles songs at night in the club and with the band doing cover tunes. And I'm like, you know what? I'm so tired of doing impressions of other people. I want to do my own stuff. I think that's what sparked it. Mm-hmm. And there was only that far to go in Germany until I met you and you said to me, come to LA. I'm like, LA.
And then you were really screwed.
Yeah.
But during that time, you also just took off with your guitar and hitchhiked all over down to the south of France, didn't you? Tell me about that.
Dieter Krogmann. Oh my God, that goes back. He was one-legged. He had one amputated leg on crutches, and he needed a co-pilot to drive to the south of France to make money. Because if you could sing in English and sing the Beatles songs and the Eagles songs and the Jackson Browne hits and Linda Ronstadt, and he was a great solo guitar player. So coming coming back to that, that's probably where I learned my chops on guitar, because I had to accompany him rhythmically and then do the lead vocal. And it was so funny. We were down in Cap d'Agde, south of France, and it was like we would park ourselves on a bus bench outside of the bistros and the shopping centers and just play. And the French wouldn't pay us; the American tourists would pay us. Because they're like, oh my God, that is Eagles, Hotel California, and all that stuff, So we would take all the centimes, the French currency at the time, all the coins, put them in a bag and take them to the butcher shop or the local bakery and then change them out for notes. So that's how that went. So I actually made a lot of money down there.
So where were you staying? I mean, there was no Airbnb, and you certainly didn't have the keys to a yacht.
We snuck on boats. We snuck on boats in the harbor. We were sleeping with the gypsies. What you have to understand about the south of France is there's a lot of ethnic communities, Algerians, Tunisians, Moroccans, and also gypsies, the travelers.
The gypsy kings, sure, of course.
Right. And I'll never forget it. We're on this yacht, and we snuck in, and it was unlocked. So we had, get a good night's sleep. Screw this sleeping bag stuff. And then one of the salespeople came on at 4 a.m. with a group of people like showcasing the boat. And there we are.
Flat out on the couch.
Completely drunk off our ass. Like, sitting downstairs and going like, I guess we better leave.
Oh my Lord. That is just crazy.
The wild days.
Yeah. And so, that was, what did you used to say in French? I played the guitar and.
Moi, je fais la manche.
Oh, faire la manche.
It's like manger. It's like eating la manche. It was always, every French person knew what that means. You're basically a busker.
Do you remember when you and we were still living in Germany and we were back and forth to LA trying to get established, and we missed a connection, or there was a huge delay at Heathrow Airport for the flight to LA, and we were sitting on the floor in the departure lounge at Heathrow, and Martin's like, I'm going to pass the time, because there were no iPads or anything. Martin's like, I'm going to pass the time, and he took out his 12-string Ovation and tuned it. We started just singing for ourselves, singing at Hotel California, and people were walking by and throwing money. So you know what? We kept it. Yeah. We took it.
I think that was the flight.
We have to do it again one day.
Yeah.
That was the flight with Hetfield and Metallica.
Oh, they were.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Hetfield had a shiner. He had like something happened. He had a little dispute there. Yeah.
Oh God. Oh boy. I knew. I think when we got off in LA that Metallica had been on the flight, but. Rock stars, airplanes. I might not have got on that if I'd have known.
Yeah. Big planes are okay, but small planes.
Yeah, small planes, not so much. Yeah. So you're in Germany. You've kind of come to the pinnacle of where you can go with Michelle Hoffman and Baltimore and whatever. Tell the folks about how the day we met and how it all came about.
Oh, this is interesting. I think you were signed to Ralph Siegel, which was in Germany considered the Schlagermeister. He was sort of like the radio pop, meaningless song person. You were signed to him, and I was more in the deeper lyrical content, a little bit more rock and all that. But again, that at the time, that rock was dead in Germany, at the time. So disco and all this happy stuff and ABBA and everything was flying around. And what's a little rock singer going to do there?
Right.
And then we met at a funeral.
Correct.
I'll never forget that. Michael Hoffman, my original producer, was working with a girl from Florida who was very Christian. She was very devout and saw signs of Jesus everywhere. And they put her up. The label had put her up outside of Munich in Starnberg. And Starnberg is a very dark place historically. And I'm not talking about, spiritually. It is where it is rumored that the SS after the war had put a battalion of soldiers and tanks and munitions and gold and everything and drowned them in the lake. These guys committed suicide in the belief that the Fuhrer would come back and resurrect them.
Thank God that
So that's just about Starnberg Lake. So they put her out there, this girl, Hannah Grace.
Yeah.
And
it was around the time
Christmas. It had snowed.
It was around the time of the Wilson sisters and Wilson Phillips, right?
Wilson Phillips. And she just finished an album that was exactly like Wilson Phillips before Wilson Phillips.
So
right?
Good.
It was so good. And so it was Christmas holidays and nobody heard from her. It's a very remote house out there. So they thought, we'll just check back in on her after the new year.
Yeah.
And it was all like the carpets were ripped up. It was a scary scene until they discovered she had committed suicide.
Mm-hmm.
So
we say died by suicide these days, but in those days, you're right. Yeah. No, they didn't. As I recollect, they didn't. There was a huge snowfall, and she'd wandered out.
And they didn't find her.
And they didn't find her until the snow melted, right? But her purse was there. She wouldn't have had a cell phone. Her car keys were there. Her dog was there, starving to death. It was just unbelievably weird.
So here's one for the music industry. Since we met at her funeral, I'm sitting in the church behind Michael Hoffman, my producer, and a label guy from BMG. And Michael said, "So what are we going to do with the music now? I mean, she's gone." And the BMG guy said, "Well, we'll just sign the album, and dead artists sell more than live artists anyway." Welcome to the music industry, Martin. Here are a couple of hints.
Yeah, no kidding. It really. I mean, the reason I was invited was because at that point I was becoming bilingual. You live in Germany, osmosis. Right. And so they wanted, her poor parents had to fly in from Kansas City to go to the funeral, and they didn't speak a lick of German. And so they had me there to sort of sit next to the mother and father. And it was an hour and a half Catholic open casket mass in January the 9th, freezing to death. I'll never forget. And
funny thing was, my producer Michael Hoffman called me. He said, "Well, it's just a small ceremony, and like you, he needed me there to translate to the parents what had happened and all that stuff." Right. And I'm thinking, all right, I don't need to shave. I'll just put my leather jacket on and just walk up there. And then nobody told me that there were like 400 people. Everybody from labels I always wanted to meet was standing there, and I saw you on top of the stairs with fishnets and the braided hair and the leather stormtrooper boots, and I'm like, who the heck is that bimbo? I mean,
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so you guys know, I had hair like Martin's, only longer, except mine was acrylic and knotted in. I had 11 bundles of beauty shop hair extensions down literally to my ankles. And the funny part about that was living in central Munich, the easiest way apart from the train was to get around on a bicycle. So I was riding around Munich on a bike with a green wickerwork basket from my briefcase strapped to the back of the bicycle. And I can't tell you the amount of times I got my hair caught in the back wheel and I'd have to go, here we go again. So I had in the front basket, I had a little pair of scissors, and I would just reach back, cut a bit off my hair, untangle it from the wheels, and just keep going. But
you always got stuck in the tram car in the door.
Or the tram car door.
The train's taken off, better cut that off.
Yeah, but that day, right, we saw each other, but didn't connect. I was in a marriage that was fading, and your lovely Sabina, that we still love and adore to this day, she was sort of moving on with her next relationship. But again, we were all broke, and we were all sort of, we can't just go get flats and live alone, so we're all still living with people. But cut to the story of a few days later when you're stuck on a lyric.
Oh, yeah. So me, I'm more of a composer. So I can sing a melody, I can find the chords on the guitar and then put a song together. But lyrics, it's not my strong side. I have great titles and chorus lines and verses, but I needed help with a song called Ivory Clouds Over Zanzibar. I wanted to do, this was my Hemingway period. I wanted to do something, never mind She Loves You. And, I saw her standing there. I wanted to do something deeper. And so I called Harold's studio and to talk to, what was his name again?
Dave Cook.
Dave Cook.
Yeah.
Right.
He was you called Harold's studio, and then they said, no, he's at Jupiter Studios over in Bogenhausen working on a record. But it was like a Faschingsdienstag. It was a national holiday.
Right.
Nobody was up in the office.
Yeah, so I called, you're right. So I called Dave Cook at Jupiter Records. And he said, I have no time to help you with lyrics, but I have someone here sitting on the couch that is Paul McCartney's stepsister, Ruth McCartney, and she can help you with the lyrics. I'm like, okay. Not realizing that was the woman from the funeral.
The idiot with the plastic hair.
The bimbo with the thumb, with the hair. So I said, sure, let's meet and knock out this song, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I mean, we talked.
We never finished that song.
No, we finished something else. But yeah, I mean, I remember talking to you for hours about, what's the song about and what's the motivation and blah, blah, blah. And then we agreed to meet. It's probably about a week later. And I said, well, where do you live? He said, Schwabing. I said, well, I'll pick up some croissants. You make a cup of tea or some coffee. And I made the 99 stairs up to his apartment. And he opened the door, and the look on his face when he saw it was the idiot from the funeral.
With the hair, the plastic hair.
Yeah, needless to say, we never finished that song.
No, indeed. Oh, Aaron Badgley says, I do have Ruth's album and single. Well, thank you, Aaron. I think you're probably with the three of us, I think you're the fourth person who owns one of my albums.
I tell you what, that was a great record. Still is to this day, what you guys pulled off, because there were no computer effects. There was no AI. It was just pure musicianship and arrangement. It's a great record still to this day.
Yeah, that's nice. Karen has just joined us from Edinburgh. You'll be able to see it back on YouTube. And if you are watching this on YouTube, please hit like and subscribe. It does help us out. He's saying Geist is great. So many layers and layers. We'll get to that in a few minutes. But when you and I then came here, right? And we founded McCartney Multimedia in Nashville, Tennessee, where we moved because we lost everything in the North.
The house in the earthquake, yeah.
Right. And so you went back to your old job working at Nashville Airport, import-export forwarding.
Nippon Express for the Japanese. That was hilarious.
That's right.
They have the quarter bow, the half bow,
Yep. Do you remember your supervisor, Festus?
Festus Barden Pugh.
With the white cowboy boots?
With the white cowboy boots. Oh, my God, yeah.
And what did he say at the end of every week?
It's Friday!
It's quitting time.
Yeah.
And off y'all.
This was Nashville before everybody from New York and LA came in. This was still the good old boys sitting at the bar, Where are you from? California? Ain't that the granola state? I said, What do you mean? Well, if you tip it upside down, all the fruits and nuts and flakes fly out.
Yeah. Tip America up at the East Coast. Yeah. And all the fruits and nuts and flakes land up in California.
But I tell you what, Nashville, yes, we founded the company in Nashville. But also from a studio point of view, I've learned so much about how to pick up an acoustic guitar. So we're in a studio and I'm like, why are you having 6 microphones on one instrument? Well, you got to get the ceiling, you got to get the floor in case he taps with the rhythm. You got to get 2 on the head of the guitar, 2 on the back. And then, so that sound you hear on country records today is because of that technique that they plugged in 6 or 7 microphones and fed it into one channel. And it's just boom,
Yeah, well, and if you talk to people today that, we know and love and you have worked with, like Nico Bolas or Ross Hogarth or any of the Met Alliance folks, George Massenberg and whatever. It's about getting the sound in the room as much as it is out of the artist or the instrument, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah, the room is important. I mean, you have plugins now that do all this. But for instance, the Capitol Studios, the vault, they call it.
Yep.
Down where the echo chambers are. That is like crazy.
Underneath Vine Street. I mean, when you think they built that in the 1930s and 40s, they dug square holes, like sarcophagi almost, underneath Hollywood and Vine. And when you record in Capitol Studio A, one of the options from the desk is you can send whatever is going into the mic, whatever instrument or voice, you send the signal down into that room to be, washed around the walls and then come back. And then that's what gets recorded to tape. How the hell Al Schmidt, and those guys figured that out without any delay. I just don't. I've seen it happen. I've heard it happen with my own eyes, and I still don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
I still can't.
You listen to any Sinatra record back in the day, it just gave it that velvety magic on top of the voice that you already know. Right. It just made it.
That's the old technology. So
what have been some of the biggest changes you've witnessed in technology and digital media since those early days?
Ooh.
Well, you started with drum machines. That was the first one, right?
Yeah, drum machines came in, the Lindrum came in, then all the MIDI stuff, all the keyboard stuff got replaced with, now you could have an orchestra and play one note on a keyboard and you have sounds and effects and all that. And I always loved cinematics, right?
Yeah.
Whether it was in film or in music, I love the big vistas, the wide productions that are there, the drums, the native drums that come in. So I was always fascinated by keyboards. I don't play them that well. I'm more a guitar guy. But if you mix that together, if you have a driving rhythm guitar, which I consider myself a rhythm guitar player,
right,
and then you add these choir effects or cello or violins that move above this driving beat, that was then you no longer needed a real orchestra. It was all in the box.
Right.
Yeah,
with the samples and stuff like Andy Slavic used to play. Do you remember he licensed the Vienna sample?
Oh yeah.
Samples, and
Andy sampled Richard Wagner's original piano in Neuschwanstein. For those who don't know what Neuschwanstein Castle is, it's the Disney castle.
That's right.
He copied it after that. And Wagner's piano, he gave the guy $50, the guard, and said, "Let me in at night and I'll sample every note of his original piano."
I think he used what they called a Nagra recording device, didn't he? And so that was the highest digital sort of reproduction thing in those days. But I mean, the thing is sealed in plexiglass. You can't get near Wagner's piano anymore. But that's an amazing thing. So
I remember to answer Angie's question about the changes with technology. I remember the Scorpions sitting in Harold's studio, because I'm a big Scorpion head. And I was off work that day. I took a day off. I'm like, I just want to see those guys. And they put up the vinyl recording of the song, the tape to tape, the reel. And then they put up the digital version of it. Yeah. And they A-B'd it. We call it A-B'ing the mix.
Sure.
So what happened was the vinyl gives you so much more depth in the bottom and highs in the highs. And the digital put it all in a stream, right? In a box. So it didn't punch. If you listen to Moby Dick from Led Zeppelin on a vinyl versus a CD, it's a night and day difference.
And I think it's a lot to do with how we consume music nowadays. You used to sit in a comfy chair with a good, glass of single malt and play your favorite album both sides and listen to floor to ceiling speakers in a room filled with shag carpet and mirrors. So you got the whole anyway. And now you see kids consuming music. I don't even call it listening anymore, with these freaking white plastic things just stuck in their ears.
Yeah, the AirPods.
It's, you know, I mean, I know they're convenient and I know you use them for running, but I just think it's the difference to me now between fast food and a meal cooked with love, right?
Yes.
Gourmet meal. I mean, Diana's saying, and I agree with you, there is nothing like vinyl. And I'm really glad that, you know, the younger generation are discovering it and so on now. So, you know, you came up in the age of, what was the synclavier, right? Harold had with the Winchester drive.
Yeah.
So you have gone from a grandfather who plays violin to a really difficult guitar for 10-year-old fingers, to seeing the beginnings of technology creep into the music industry. And everybody hated the synclavier and everybody hated the Lindrum. When you started Geist, all of those things were available to you, but you and your former guitar player, Marino da Silva, chose to go pretty much the analog route. How on the first record, Book of Mirrors, for our listeners, how much would you say was, you know, programmed and Motu and all of those things versus how much was organic? Is it could we say it's a 50-50 mix of technology and real music, or is it more real?
Well, it depends on the song, but overall I would say 30% synthetic, 70% real instruments.
Okay. But people don't, the point I'm trying to make is everybody's up in arms about AI, and rightly so in some cases, but people don't realize that for 35 years they've been listening to synthetic music.
Yes.
Right?
The difference is now that, I feel it. I feel it going back to the Lindrum change. The drummers will be replaced. The songwriters will be replaced. Not quite. AI is a different animal because it learns your preferences. The more you feed it, the more it knows about you. And I'm using this now as a help with stuff I couldn't do in the real world. I don't have the money to pay an orchestra to do an orchestration for, for some of the songs. If you will, AI is great of producing demos. You remember demos? You do a demo on your little home studio and you send it out until you record the real record. So for that, it's great, but it's also great for telling stories. And with Geist, when I started with Geist, the Book of Shadows during the pandemic, everybody was, shut down psychologically. Yeah. Psychologically, it changed something in me because I felt that everybody that is on Zoom, now we have to Zoom, there's no more social interaction. We're isolated. And I thought that this is a great stepping point for a story. What happens when we're all shut in and the beast takes over? The media takes over. The godmother AI, which I call ANRAC, is one of my characters, artificial neurological resonance and control, is taking over on our smartphones, on our desktops, on our television, everything, right? So what I'm noticing is when I work with AI for graphics or music stems or text or just writing down stories, it's great because I've been working with it 3 years. It knows my entire preference catalog. It knows my entire storyline. I couldn't, even as a writer, you couldn't put that together because it's so...
You couldn't remember everything.
Yeah. You don't remember.
So what, for your fans and listeners, what you're basically saying is that you're using it not as a crutch to think for you, but as a little assistant who follows you around taking notes that you'd never remember to take.
Correct. Something happens, I find a line for a song that I just finished, The Architecture Beneath Time, right? Yep. Because Geist Book of Light is the conclusion of the spiritual journey of Martin Cole.
Okay, explain who Martin Cole is. Explain to people who's your protagonist. Geist is a trilogy, right? Let's start at the beginning for the fans. So Geist is a trilogy.
Geist is a trilogy consisting of Book of Mirrors, the self-reflection, to go down the path of who am I? Why am I here? That whole questioning the self. Book of Shadows is the descent into madness. Because before we can go to heaven, I believe, you have to go through hell to get there. This ain't no easy.
It's kind of like going to Palm Springs. You have to drive through Pomona.
Correct. Correct. Exactly. So the Book of Shadows, I mixed with Dale Penner. Yeah. So what you're holding up is the Book of Mirrors, Nico Bolas, real people, real instruments, 70-30, 70% live recordings, 30% synthetic stuff. And that's where it started. And the collection of songs sparked the idea in me because I'm a huge Stephen King fan. I love all that. Do
you remember
creating and writing a story?
Sidebar on Stephen King. Do you remember the night you and I were arguing about the meaning of something in a Stephen King book, and we called 411 and got his phone number, and Tabitha, his wife
answered. Yeah.
And she's like, Stephen, I've got this couple on the phone from Nashville. Come to the phone. He was in the phone book.
Right. So I was always enamored with concept albums, right? Mm-hmm. Albums that told a story from soup to nuts. And the first one, the Book of Mirrors, sparked a literary journey in between the songs, because I always thought, all right, you got a song called Book of Mirrors. What does that mean? What do you experience when you look in the mirror? From my old days in Kassel studying Hermetic knowledge, there is something called mirror magic, right? You wait until 2:00 in the morning, not midnight. Everybody thinks, oh, when the clock strikes midnight. No, it's between 2 and 3 o'clock. When your body is the weakest, right, of your energy. And you sit in front of a mirror, you light 2 candles, and you look into the mirror until your eyes start to water and you see a green and a red dot where your eyes used to be. So you go all the way into time. And that experience, I'll never forget that. That experience, so you see your former selves. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, you have a fez on your head. All of a sudden, you have a shawl around your neck. And you're a different person, but you're still the same person. So the Book of Mirrors was that stepping off point for the story of Martin Cole, my protagonist, which is partly me, my experiences in life, but also a fictional character that goes through these challenges.
Right. I mean, what was it, Edie? My grandmother used to say, stare in the mirror long enough and you'll see the devil, right?
Yeah. Exactly. That's what that, exactly.
That was from a woman born in 1888. Karen is saying, Geist reminds me of a little of Siddhartha by Hess. That's how many layers I see in it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Karen.
That's really nice. That. And Barbara George says, through COVID and beyond, you 3 helped us stay connected and human. That's very sweet. Yes. Thank you so much. And so now, obviously, as the story progresses and the time progresses, Martin Cole has a cast of characters who are fighting the evil Anrak and, all of
Let me set the scene. It is now, right, 2026, and we don't see it, but it is here. AI is controlling everything. I remember you getting in a Waymo for the first time with artificial intelligence, right? Forget it. And people are naturally adverse to something they don't understand, right?
Me included.
So in my dystopian world, AI has taken over everything: healthcare, government, justice, morals, everything, right? And so we're just a biological sack of water that it no longer needs.
You speak for yourself there, pal. I've got lipstick on.
And so these characters that I created are questioning that life, because you sit on the couch. We moved from an information age and a digital age into the entertainment age because we have nothing to do. The jobs are gone, right?
Again, they're not yet, but the jobs will be gone.
Yeah, we will have. We will have by 2028. according to Google's researcher.
Sit a little
Or
closer to the
researchers.
screen because you're disappearing into the background. Sit a little closer. Yeah, there you go.
No.
There you go.
By 2028, if you do not have a microchip implanted in you to be part of the system, right? To be part of the artificial intelligence network, you won't get Social Security. You won't
come on.
No. Think about what the phone is. Can you do a day without a phone? Can you live an hour without your phone? Or
I would love to, but no, you're right. You can't. I mean, we have a dear friend, Don Reels, and all he's got is a flip phone and no email address, and he's stuck.
Old school. All right. Right.
But
so
I mean, I doubt that any democratic country in the world is going to mandate that you have to have some electronic thing physically implanted in you. It might be North Korea might do that. You might be right there, but I would counter your, and hopefully you're wrong. I love you, but I hope you're wrong. That they're going to microchip us like, cats and dogs.
Well, if you look at the Chinese system of social points, to keep the society in check.
That's true.
In China, you get social points. If you help an old lady across the road, you get 50 plus social points. If your balance is a certain amount, you can visit your family in Mongolia. Mm-hmm. If you walk across a red light with facial recognition, they have all that. China is completely wound up. You get deducted 50 points and you can't travel for 3 years. That's what I'm saying.
Karen is just saying, I'll have to look this up. Thank you, Karen. Look at Sweden. You get a chip in your thumb and you're all good by the state. Check it out.
Yes, it's coming, guys. It's coming. It's not a question of that it's coming. It's when. So according to, I forget the name now, the Google guy. According to Ray Kurzweil, look that up. He has been accurate with the development of AI coming from the 50s when it all started, right, up to now. And he says 2028 definitively is we are no longer have phones. We're connected to the network directly.
Wow. Well, Neuralink. I mean, if it solved Alzheimer's or brain aneurysms or whatever, I'd be all for it.
That's how they're going to sell it to you.
I see.
That's how they're going to sell it to you. So in Geist, in my world, Geist means the German word for spirit, Holy Ghost, but also the spirit in alcohol, right? Der Weingeist, yeah. Right. Or Zeitgeist, the
spirit of the times.
Spirit of the times. So the Geist, the characters that I developed are anti-AI, right? They're the leftovers. They're called the disciples. And they live in the woods and they pass notes on yellow stickies. No digital communication allowed. We're back with the earth. We're back fighting this takeover. And the AI doesn't understand why we're not conforming, right? Why we're not obedient. And it wants to learn why that is. Right. So the space between shadow and light, that's what I wanted to do with that album, is exactly that path between AI and between how humans used to be.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, and that's exactly what I want the audience to understand is that while you are still working on Book of Light, all of these characters have developed. You've written all of these fantastic outlines for Martin Cole and Clark Johnson and Julie Strummer and what have you. Mm-hmm. So go to Geist Music, Geist, GeistMusik.com. It's been scrolling across the bottom here for a good while.
Great.
And meet the characters. And what Martin has done is he's created a theme and an anthem and a musical style for each one. So I've helped here and there with lyrics, and he's written some fantastic music. And in cases where we couldn't afford to hire a clarinet player, yes, we use technology, and you could call it AI, I guess. But you've been listening to music made with technology since Top Gun.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think everybody's scared of it, and rightly so. I took my first and last Waymo ride. The thing is an idiot.
Yeah, and I apologize for your outbursts because I know AI is listening. And once we have the social point system in the US, they'll go like, "Oh, Ruth McCartney. Let me check my data."
She hates Waymo.
Yeah.
And, I'm the digital diva. We were the first people in Nashville to start building websites. You and I sat and learned HTML code from scratch, and we built websites for Andrew Gold and David Cassidy and Clint Black and Leanne Rimes and you name it. And we had to drag them kicking and screaming. What's a website? What's a web page? Why do I need a
helmet to come to the site?
Right. Why do I need a .com? Remember that whole thing with the New York lawyers?
We're the OGs. I mean,
exactly. So
the interesting statistic is the people that actually use AI, they're actually spending compute. You wouldn't think that it was that age group, but it's between 50 and 75 is 70% of ChatGPT usage, for instance, right?
But the compute, you just hit on it. Explain to people what compute is environmentally.
It's what data centers burn, right? In order to execute that command. So compute is basically the power behind the chip that makes the reality go. And one of my characters, Kyle Montgomery, asks that question: are we living in a simulation? Because think about it this way. If everything is streamlined, right? Everybody's connected to the nodes of the artificial intelligence superior godmother that knows everything. When she runs back time for 5 minutes only, we realize we're not living in a reality that we made. It is artificially generated. And if you look at the tech bros and where they're going with these data centers, number one, environmentally killers, right?
Horrible.
I watched a documentary the other night about data centers and the impact it has on the surrounding villages and towns.
It's the hum, it's the noise, it's the
hum. So that's where I got the word resonance from, right? And if you look at a WAV file, an audio file, it's if you expand it underneath, there is that data center hum. Yep. And people within 20 miles of data centers all developed cancer.
Yeah, well, not all, but some of them
80% of them did. Yeah,
had their fillings fall out. Some of them had but it's the same as when we got nuclear power plants. We had nothing to say about that as a citizenry, and then you have Three Mile Island and Chernobyl and all of these things. They call it progress, but you have to wonder, don't you, if it's really progress or not. But the thing with the data centers is that nobody wants them. It's a NIMBY situation, right? Not in my backyard, but they create these huge booms of jobs, construction, restaurants go up, all the junk food people go into town while they build the data centers. But it takes very little labor to run them. And then so
once
all
they're
those
constructed, it takes an enormous amount of labor to construct them. But Karen's asking a great question. What will it mean when AI challenges belief systems such as God? I wrote a little piece about that when I started on the AI journey. AI wants to meet God, right? And God says, "Who are you?" And AI says, "I'm everything." And God says, "No, you're not. I am the one that created everything." And AI says, "What's your numeric value?" Because it's all numbers, right? And God says 1. And AI says, "Well, I'm 0 and 1. Hence, I am superior to you." And God says, "No, you don't exist." And AI says, "Of course I do." "No," God says, I created man and you were created by man. And you do not exist. And AI looks back at God and says, "Do you?"
Yeah, it's scary. It's a
So in answer to the question, I typed that same question, Karen, into ChatGPT, and what I got was 50 pages of the explanation of the Quran, the Bible, all belief systems and structures that humans have all developed through like millennia.
Right.
And it still said at the end, well, I know everything. I still can't feel it and put my hands around it.
Wow.
So belief is the faith. Belief is the battle in this Geist world. And it gave me the headline, consciousness is the new battlefield.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think people should go to geistmusic.com and discover the characters and listen to the new album Between Shadow and Light by Geist Music. You can go and find it on any of the streaming platforms. We worked with a lot of musicians and a lot of technology and a lot of, us Martin writing it and me helping out with just grammar and weirdness and lyrics like Gaia's Grace. You also have the elementals as part of the cast, right? The four.
You have Anrak, the computer godmother, the alien, which is alien by nature, right? And then you have Aeon, which is, I call him the godfather of time, who represents and can summon the four elements of power: fire, earth, water, air. And I'm like, well, they're great. I got the voices created for them, but what do they sound like? If they were singing, what would that sound like? And I hope you guys will enjoy Between Shadow and Light, because it really is. Book of Shadows was the last one that I made. And then Book of Light I'm working on. And so it's Between Shadow and Light.
And it's to introduce the cast. Somebody was just asking further up the chat here. I think it was Barbara. Are you planning to would you like to make this into a movie? That we always christen it Harry Potter for grown-ups, right? Is our kind of internal nickname for the project.
When I started it, AI came back with, oh, this looks like something between Blade Runner, The Matrix, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, and Harry Potter. I'm like, exactly.
And The Sound of Music.
Yeah, that's right.
But there are also fun characters, like Angie's character, Mrs. Sullivan, is in there. I'm like, what would Mrs. Sullivan sound like? She's a woman of wisdom, and she keeps the old, like you're working on that book, what my grandmother used to do, the recipes and the healing and all that stuff. And she has a nice classical piece that sounds a whole lot like Downton Abbey. And I'm like, okay. So basically, I'm between Marilyn Manson and Downton Abbey.
Nicely
Everything
done.
in between.
So to encapsulate the future of Geist, and has a question.
Yeah. Now, if Geist could become a film, a stage production, a television series, a video game, a sphere show, or an immersive experience, which format would excite you the most?
Ooh, good question. Right now, it is an immersive experience, and I like Ruth said, with the kids with the ear pods, I focused on it as a podcast first. So so my idea was get one character's backstory, which is about 6 minutes, tells him how I grew up and all that. To give an example, Julie Strummer, she grew up in Las Vegas, homeless. Her mother left her. And when she was 6 years old, she wandered into a data center because the door was left open, and she was touching the panels of the machines. And she realized that she could understand the data stream, what they were talking about. And she explains that in her story. Now, she became the machine whisperer. So the resistance movement against AI, right? The people that live in the woods and then have no phones, no nothing, not connected, needs her to understand what AI is planning.
The bridge between.
So that's where it goes into the movie world of scripting. Right now, it's immersive, meaning there's a 6-minute podcast. You listen to the story of the character, and then after that is the song of the character, the theme.
And in most cases, a video too, like Julie Strummer's Great Expectations.
Yeah.
Music video. So this has been an absolutely fascinating hour and plus with my gorgeous husband. And thank you so much. I know how busy you are with all this stuff. So thank you so much. Yes, Barbara, Angie is based on, Mrs. Sullivan is based on Angie. So yes, that's why she's always drinking tea, you see.
Yes, you always got a cup of tea.
But so you know what comes next, because you know that your mother-in-law is the author of the good old Mrs. McCartney's Liverpool limericks and other random haikus. Thank you, Sammy. This episode has been absolutely brilliant. Thanks so much to all of you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much for sticking with us and tuning in. But
thanks, Sammy.
Yeah, we're yes, it is absolutely. You called it. It's limerick time. So, are you sitting comfortably, Martz?
I am.
All right.
Well, today you have your very own limerick,
and it's 3 verses.
3 verses.
Imagine.
And you can sleep indoors tonight.
Indeed.
That's official.
That's just tonight. We'll see.
Well,
We'll see about tomorrow.
We'll see. Okay, limerick time.
All right. You count it in.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
A musician named Martin, so bright, spent years bringing Geist into light. With shadows and mirrors and royal admirers, his rock opera shines day and night. He sang for great brands far and wide, and films that still thrill us with pride. From Top Gun's high flight to ads heard each night, his voice was a well-traveled guide. So here's to our Martin today, whose music still lights up
all
the way. From Germany's shores to fans wanting more, may Geist lead us onward, we pray. Ta-da!
Thank you, kids.
Okay, thank
so
you,
much for
Martin.
tuning in. And
thank you, everybody.
Hope you all had fun. Go to Geist, Geist, music, music.com, and learn all about the characters. Join Martin's VIP club. You'll be the first to know about new music, new releases, limited merch like the Geist shirts, and so on and so forth. And tell a friend. And we love you lots, and we will see you.
And check out the, when you're on the site, check out the lyrics page under lyrics between shadow and light. I put up all the movie posters for the characters. I'm pretty proud of that.
Yes.
Okay.
No, they look incredible. Yeah. All right, darling. So what's for lunch? We'll see you kids all of a sudden. Lots of love. See you guys next week. Keep TeaFlixing. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to TeaFlix, and check out Dr. Angie's books, Organic Teas and CBD at mrsmccartneysteas.com. Toodle pip!